Or at least I think I'm ready. I'm sure as soon as we get straight into it, I'll remember that I missed something.
You're okay.
I don't know how to start these kinds of things. This is, but yeah. I guess I'll start like a normal video. Like, hello, crows and non-crows alike. My name is Joe Mack, otherwise known as Support Crow, and today we are trying to answer an intriguing question. What would a Harry Potter MMO, or a Wizarding World Online, if you will, need to be successful? Joining me today is the magnetic and magical WhatTheKristy.
Hello there. How are you doing? I'm WhatTheKristy. Um, I play mostly Final Fantasy 14 online, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan as well. First game I streamed was actually Hogwarts Legacy, so kind of double dipping here.
That was the first game you streamed.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the same for like a lot of people.
yeah. I actually had no intention of streaming. I was just a moderator for somebody and had made friends inside the community. And one of them made a joke about how I probably was having difficulty with like figuring out some puzzles and wanted to see how I would handle it. So I streamed it without a camera off my PS5. And then we evolved to a PC build and I found Final Fantasy.
Now, if people were like to call you out on something specifically, it probably would be Final Fantasy, right?
Oh,
Would that?
100%.
Mm,
100%, especially Final Fantasy 14 or 16. Since I did get a Clive Rosfield tattoo like a month after finishing 16.
nice.
Yes.
All right, now I like how I sent you like this text saying like, all right, here's the gameplay. We're gonna do this and this and this and this and this, and now I'm here. I'm like, what's the first thing we're gonna do? We're gonna. All right, hang on. Scrolling up. I know that I was going to give you the opportunity to kind of discuss Final Fantasy 14 because as I feel like you have more experience with MMOs, especially Final Fantasy 14, and that's kind of our common ground. And I feel like that is probably going to be where a lot of our comparisons are going to be placed in, you know? If things could be like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been grinding Final Fantasy 14 almost a year now. I'm a little shy of a year. I think I started in like September, October of last year. Um, and I've spent a lot of my life in it. I got my husband like really involved in it too. So like now we moved our PC setups next to each other and we are constantly playing together. So like we've made so many friends in the game that teach us all the
Mm.
different ins and outs too. So yeah, definitely a lot of it's coming from this. And then a lot of it will not a lot of it, a little bit will come from like what I do know about World of Warcraft because my best friend started playing that. So I have a tiny bit of knowledge from that that I think will go into what a Harry Potter MMO should have as well.
Yeah. And for reference, I have like I think I first tried World of Warcraft, uh, years and years ago for like a little bit, and then that sort of bled into Elder Scrolls Online. But I really fell in love with Final Fantasy 14, just how open it was and how beautiful it was, and all the different kinds of things that you could be and interact with. It's that was really, I kind of got really in touch with my inner Elysian culinarian chef dude.
You were in Ellison?
Yes,
I'm a Makote.
nice.
I wasn't. I didn't start as one, but I am a Makote now. But that's See, that's one of the things I love about Final Fantasy 14 is that like you get to like touch into so many different things. Whereas like WoW, you have to make another character to do other things. And that
Right.
was why I actually haven't tried WoW myself, was because of that. I love that I can go run a dungeon as a Dark Knight and then, queue times are a little long. It looks like they need a healer. Okay, I'll swap over to my White Mage and that we'll jump in and that way we can get rolling. Whereas like with something with the World of Warcraft, you can't. You have to have a different character to do something like that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's the expansiveness of Final Fantasy 14. It's just, has all those different jobs and those different classes, and it's for new players. It can be a little bit intimidating. At least it
Oh yeah.
was for me. Like, you got 3 cities to start off with, and each have like 4 or 6 different classes, and you're just like you're starting off. You already have all these choices to make, and for casters though, it seemed pretty simple. If you want to be like a healer, white mage, then you're in Gridania.
Yeah, but there's also goodness, Arcanist that is also a healer. And that one starts in Ul'dah, I think. Hold on. I literally
Oh,
have my game open so I can literally tell you.
Arcanus, like that becomes like a summoner later, right?
Yes, that
The ones with the
yes. So
book,
that one starts in Limsa.
Limsa.
And then there's another one that starts in Ul'dah. So there's actually one in each main city hub.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's wild. Yeah, I just opened up my set list and I have 22 22 jobs unlocked right now that I've been working on.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So, and I mean, some are low, some are high.
Mm-hmm.
But that just shows the expansiveness of like your options. And I don't even have all of the jobs unlocked. And then we talk about Dawn Trail coming out in, I don't know when this video is going to be released, but it could already be out. Could be in pre-launch. But then we've got Viper and Pictomancer coming out, and those are 2 more DPS options that are being released. So it's ever growing, and I think
the
that
uh, the
it's never
Pictomancer, that's
ending.
the one with like the paint, right?
Yes, the paintbrush. It's gonna be such an interesting caster. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what that's gonna be like.
That did look very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I'm not touching it right away for queue
Mm-hmm.
times. I'm gonna be the nice tank and stay tank. Um, I will be kind, but it will be absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait.
Yeah, I always liked the magic casters in 14, but eventually I did settle on like, all right, fine, I'll be a healer purely for the queue times. And,
It makes a big difference. It makes a
mm,
big difference.
DPS, you just sit there for hours. Like, all right, I'll go kill some mobs in the meantime.
Yep. My husband is a samurai main, and literally he'll sit and queue for forever, and I'll just drop what I'm doing and come help him because I can either tank or I can heal depending on what queue times look like. I max leveled Reaper, White Mage, and Dark Knight, so that way I can help queue times for anybody when they need it.
That's awesome. Hmm. So let me introduce a scenario to you to sort of get us straight into the topic at hand. Let's say we were important enough to ever be invited into the situation. We are in the corporate office, we're standing in front of a group of executives, and they are like asking us specifically, what would a Harry Potter MMO need or require, I should say. And you've said that you have like a whole book of needs met, so I'm gonna let you go first for that.
Um, so first, I would say it wouldn't be a Harry Potter MMO because you couldn't make a Harry Potter MMO. That story's been done, said, and finished and closed.
Mm-hmm.
But a Wizarding World MMO would be absolutely amazing, like how Legacy had their own storyline. It would be the same kind of concept of your own storyline because you're not playing one of the main characters. You're playing an OC. You're your own original character. So with having the lore of Harry Potter in the background of everything,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different areas, just like how Final Fantasy has main hub areas. It would be the same kind of concept. So we'd have all of that in the background. Very easy to recreate Hogwarts, Diagon Alley, Hogsmeade, like the Ministry of Magic, as your starting points, depending on where you're at, right? Or even if you're just starting in like a main city space that's not specifically in lore, because obviously every single detail isn't in the books, isn't in everything, right? There's
Right.
other areas that exist. So you start in a different town, different city. And then depending on how they wanted it to go, lead off into going to school and have your quest line through there,
Mm-hmm.
depending on because the storyline of that is your own storyline. And there are different kinds of MMOs where you're following a direct storyline or you've got choices, because like Final, you have some text choices that change things up a little bit. I don't want to like just talk straight through, because like I said, I have a whole lot of notes.
Oh no, it's good. So again, as a comparison, so 14 has you like start off with the choices of, you could either go to Gridania or Limsa Lomitsa or Olda. Would that be, if you had to choose between, hey, you can choose between three different schools or like three different regions of the world, which one do you
Yeah,
think would be better representative of the Wizarding World online? If that makes any sense.
so I think that like if you step back as like a whole stand-in, right? You look at I I see it in two options. I see it as you can either A, have it as like your data center and then your worlds are like the subs, right? So like your data centers could be like each school,
Mm-hmm.
and then your worlds could be like each, house or like sub genre, etc. like in those data centers. Or you can have it set as like different areas of like the world. So like the UK, Japan, America as like your data centers, and then like break those down into subs for worlds. So I see those as different options to kind of break that up. And then like when you step into the game and you're choosing your role where it would set you, much like how Final does, how it starts you in like a different area to start progressing through the storyline. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense. So I believe Dylan was the one who kind of asked on Twitter, like, should you be able to like pick your school when you attend as a server? So we should. I think it's safe to assume that we are probably going to be leading away from, hey, if you choose a server, then that means you go to this one school. You still choose a server, and then you have the option to choose other different schools within the
Correct,
server.
because otherwise it would stop the storyline, or even if you, and it would also overcrowd servers.
Mm,
And then because let's be real here, majority of people are probably going to choose the server where you could go to Hogwarts, so that way you could
right.
choose like your Hogwarts house, because that's going to be, of course, the bulk of people going. And there's
Right.
going to be people that are going to want to go to, I always say it wrong, but Ivermorny, I cannot say it.
Ilvermorny.
I'm bad with, yeah, I'm bad with words. I'm honest about it.
Oh,
But
that's
like,
good.
there's gonna be some people that want to go there and test out that school. So I think that it's gonna be more so as like just the name of it, how it is in Final. It doesn't make a difference. It's all the same. But
Hmm.
you can say you're on this data center in world.
Right. Which school would you choose out of curiosity?
I choose Hogwarts. There's no. I'm a Slytherin. Okay, I would happily hop into my Slytherin role.
Fair, fair. I think I choose Ilvermorny. And I love Hogwarts. I love being a Ravenclaw, but I think I've done my time there. I'm like, that's good. I'm ready to see what the American school is all about.
Live here. I'm good. Yeah, I think that would be like a good start point, because a lot of people that also love Harry Potter and love the lore haven't played MMOs, and stepping into an MMO is extremely terrifying.
Right.
like as someone who didn't game until like a few years ago, like actually game, stepping into Final Fantasy was terrifying. I was so overwhelmed. The HUD system terrified me. I didn't know what was going on. I died in the middle of nowhere. It was scary. Like people don't talk about how scary stepping into an MMO is. It is freaking terrifying.
Yeah, the HUD system definitely was a really bad source of anxiety for me. I'm like, what do all these buttons mean?
Yeah. And then you have to set things up yourself too on how you would like it. And I didn't have an understanding of what I was doing or what I was clicking. And now it's second nature, but it's intimidating for sure.
And one of the great things about Hogwarts Legacy is that it brought in so many new gamers. That whatever Warner Brothers does beyond this, a lot of those gamers, I imagine, will probably branch off to try to play new things. So whatever comes of this MMO, if it happens, they're going to have to try to figure out a way to ease them into it, which is tricky. It's difficult for an MMO.
Absolutely. But I think that having the option of being able to choose those things will also help. And then you think of how much people know about Harry Potter lore. And, like, for example, I have like the classes and jobs categorized by roles. I told you I made way too many notes. And so like way too many notes. So like you're thinking like as you go in an MMO you play as a party. So you need like your healer, your tank, and your DPSs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everyone like with their lore, they have what they wanted to do, right? Whether they wanted to be an R, a curse breaker, a beast tamer, like a dark wizard hunter, R. But like that's stuff that people think about. So going in being like, okay, well I'd love to be a potion master.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be a healer. You want to be a spell healer. Obviously, you'd be a healer. Herbologist, I think, would be healer as well. I do. I think a herbologist would be a healer. And then our tanks would all obviously be Cursebreaker, R, and Magizuist. I have sub notes for these if you have questions.
Totally, totally. So that was one point that I was kind of thinking about, like whether or not professions would be classes, or if certain skills would be kind of the classes themselves. If we were to like take the classes of Hogwarts, you have potions, you have herbology and defense against the dark arts, and all that fun stuff. I think the way Elder Scrolls Online does it is that it actually breaks those things down into skills, and it has like different factions that you can join, and those skills kind of come into play to that. So, where's my question? I lost it. I had it and I lost it. Do you think it would be better to have professions as classes, or have skills that are based on those kinds of professions, and have this kind of faction-based quests where all those different kinds of skills can play into?
Um, so based off of my experience and my thought process of how it would run, I think it should be very much more like how, because I love the way Final has it. Like I said, you can swap between jobs. I think that
Mm-hmm.
having them under jobs would be the most beneficial. Because, like I said, I even have Crafter and Gatherer like under here with like options. Whereas you can grab all of them, you can level all of them, you can gain those skills to use them throughout the storyline and your playtime.
Out of curiosity, what do you have down for crafter and gatherers?
Wand maker for Crafter.
Nice.
Jeweler. The jeweler would create enchanted jewelry, to help you with buffs and stuff of that nature.
Mm,
Gear maker, basically. And then potion master, which again would be like culinarian, which I've been working my butt off on. And then your gatherer would be a herbologist, obviously, magical plants, stuff of that
nice.
nature. I actually did, this is a funny one because it kind of crosses over, but a creature handler, because you get like the furs and like teeth and horns and stuff of that nature, feathers from
Right.
animals. So that kind of thought process. And then just like a general resource gatherer for everything else. So like a botanist kind of vibe or miner kind of vibe.
Cool, cool, cool. I think a good DPS would be like like prankster, like the Weasley twins with their fireworks and their different gadgets and gizmos, bombs and whatnot.
That would be cool. That would be really cool because I could totally see that. And then depending on the timeline of the story, we could always go and like that could be one of the shops that we're able
Right.
to like buy our stuff from, like buy our gear from there. I could totally see that because if it's
Speaking,
after,
mm-hmm, go for it.
like if it's after Harry Potter's timeline when like or even like the same timeline, you know what I mean, like you're going through the battle as like an OC, all the changes in the world, that could be interesting as well. Everything's kind of happening around you. I could see a lot of different ways they could do this: pre Harry Potter, post Harry Potter, or during the same time.
The time is interesting. Like it's
Yeah.
because depending on how far back or how far forward, or even the time of Harry Potter itself, you have different areas of the world that are actually like locked out because of the statute of secrecy. So one idea is that we could go like all the way back to like Merlin's day, like 1,000 years ago when Hogwarts was being built out, because that was during a time when Muggle society and Wizarding society, there was no secret about it. It was all intermingled and whatnot. So that way you could have these kind of massive landscapes that you could traverse and you do magic on and whatnot without actually triggering any alarms. But if you go to like Harry Potter, or perhaps in the future, or a little bit ahead of the future of that, uh, the statute of secrecy is in place. So you can have places like Diagon Alley and the hinterlands, but you can't really go too far beyond that. You can't really run around the streets of London casting spells without the lore being kind of broken. Because depending on what you do with that, if you go around casting spells in the middle of London Square, and the Muggles are just like, okay, that's kind of weird. Anyway, moving on. There's no reflection of the lore there. It's kind of breaking.
Yeah, absolutely. My main thing that I would love to see in a Harry Potter MMO, I'm gonna say it, is I want to be able to go to Azkaban. I want
Yes.
some kind of side quest or expansion or something, even a job quest I'll accept where you have to go to Azkaban. I want it.
Can you imagine it being like a trial? Like you go up through the different levels of
Oh,
Azkaban. That'd be so cool.
stop. That would be so cool. No, not even a trial, a dungeon where you have to
Yes.
literally get in and like fight Dementors on your way through to like this massive Dementor boss. Oh my
Oh, that'd be
gosh.
cool. That'd be so cool. Mm.
Yeah, I can see so many really cool dungeons and trials that could be created. And just think about the raids, okay? Could you imagine a raid in the Chamber of Secrets?
Oh, yes.
A
Oh,
24-man raid running through the Chamber of Secrets? Please.
that'd be crazy. That'd be awesome, but it'd be crazy. That's the Wizarding World gives you like so many options to kind of go and explore and have these grand adventures. But at the same time, I feel like it kind of sabotages itself, because although those are great ideas, the Azkaban and the Chamber of Secrets, if we go depending on where we are in the timeline or whatnot, and the spells that we use, it can kind of contradict itself. So, like for example, the Chamber of Secrets was only open like a few times, and if we're past like Harry Potter's time, that basilisk is dead. So we can't really have him as a boss. And the mentors, although they'd be fun, like kind of fight and whatnot, there's really only one spell that kind of does the trick for him. So I think whatever direction it kind of goes in, it has to kind of bend the rules a little for an MMO. Not all the spells have to
Yes
be
and
like.
yes and no, because I
Mm,
can also see it as okay. There are some places where you're not actually like there.
mm,
So you said you got to Heaven's Ward, right? How far did you get? Because I'm not going to spoil for you.
I got to, I it's, I got past the point where the knights saved our lives essentially, but cost him his. And I think I went up into space and fought some really cool, like, giant knight, king, priest, pope people. I killed the pope. That I remember. Or at least I
Okay,
think I
so
did.
you are in Heaven's Ward. Okay, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to spoil it for you with details, but because it's a later expansion. But there are some points like in final where you're not actually there.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as like, I can't think of the name of the bowl. You know, where you put your face in it and you're kind of like seeing somebody else's vision,
Oh, the pensive
memories. Yes,
memories.
thank you, pensive.
Mm-hmm.
So like it could be something along those lines where like you're looking into a pensive to like see somebody, you're playing through Harry's experiences um in Chamber of Secrets, right? Like you're there in his memories, but you're battling your own way through. There are ways where you can actually play through things where you're not actually bending lore because it's your own experience going through something that has already happened.
Gotcha.
Um, or even like you're looking into like the crystal ball, you're seeing into the future, what's going to happen, and you get transported into your own version of it. There are so many ways to be able to bend it to where you're not actually messing with lore or going
Mm-hmm.
against lore, but you're having your own experience through it. And that's the best part about, Harry Potter lore, like the Wizarding World lore, and like combining it with an MMO because you have all those different twists and turns that you can change.
All right. So kind of like Magic Awakening in a way where it's like replaying those old Harry
Yeah.
Potter scenarios for you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Even because like even if you're like pre Harry Potter time, maybe something happened and a crystal ball exploded and everyone in the room gets like transported into like this future event that's going to happen, and that's a raid, but it's not actually changing anything in the future because it's not actually happening.
True. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Mm. Sorry, I'm just thinking about all the different like dungeons
I
we could
know,
probably go
right?
through. Like,
Right.
did you play any of the classic Harry Potter games
Oh
by
yeah,
chance?
on PC when I was a kid, I had all of them.
So you remember those different classes having like their own dungeons with them,
And it was like their test because I
right?
remember the stupefy one. That's why my husband randomly says stupefy and doesn't know what it means.
I could easily see, like, if we are all in Hogwarts, like if this is like the Hogwarts online experience, I could easily see those classes having those dungeons again, and those would be
Yeah.
our classes.
Yeah, that too. And then, ooh, okay. Think about the PvP area, how much fun that would be. Because we have PvP in Final too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you go to another area, you have to PvP. Everyone loves to duel. A whole dueling area for PvP would be so much fun. And then you have like your daily PvPs, right? Like where you have to like take over areas as a team. I don't know. And like I said, I have a lot of notes and a lot of thoughts.
No, no, no. I hear you. For the record, though, I was never good at PvP in Final Fantasy XIV,
Same,
but I hear a lot
same.
of people were great at it. They're having a lot of fun.
I
Oh,
insta die every time, but it's
right.
fun.
It sucks when I go in as like a healer and I just immediately just fall over. I'm like, I gave it my best, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I die a lot. I die a lot, even as a tank. I found out the other day that Dark Knights get ganged up on in PvP, so I now no longer go into PvP as a Dark Knight.
But yeah, PvP. Gosh, like a Battle of Hogwarts kind of retelling, but you have one
Exactly.
side there are Death Eaters and one side there are like the Hogwarts students. That'd
Oh,
be cool.
stop, because I immediately would always try to queue for a Death Eater. Oh, can you think about all the mount options too and minion options? Because you'd have all the animals as minion options, and then the
Hmm.
larger ones could be mount options. I could just hear James now.
Oh, yes, he would go for a Thestral immediately. You
Oh, a
know,
million percent. It would be the coolest thing. I would love that. I'm a mount grinder myself, so I would have a lot of fun with that.
Can you imagine all like the little silly mounts though? Like you can have like a Dementor mount or a Fort Anglia mount.
Please? Oh my gosh, please. If only I modded, man.
Isn't there like a car mount in Final Fantasy 14 somewhere?
Yeah, it's from Final Fantasy 15. It's a
That's right.
yeah, it's a special event quest. I actually just got it when they redid it this last time, and I was screaming excited when I got it on stream because I wanted it so bad. The first Final Fantasy game I ever played at all was 15. I never finished
Same.
it, but I started it to see if I would like Final Fantasy at all. And then 16 was my first game that I actually played, finished, and did.
You gotta finish 15. It's gonna
I
make you
know.
cry, but you gotta finish it.
I'm gonna restart it and actually play through it with like actual intent of like paying attention and not just checking out the mechanics of a Final Fantasy game. Because 16 made me bawl my eyes out. 14 makes me cry all the time. Like 7 like really pulled at the heartstrings. So, yes, I definitely am. But yeah, it's his car from 15. It plays the same music that it did when he like from the intro scene too when you're flying on it.
Oh, that's
It's great.
nice. That's really cool.
Oh, could you imagine the flying car being a mount?
Totally. Like you have like 3 other people up in there. That'd be so cool. And of course, you got all the different brooms. And what if your broom maker was also like a mount maker too? That'd be awesome.
And then you could like put well, it wouldn't be materia and you know this. It would have some kind of other
Well, it'd have enchantments,
terminology.
right?
Yeah, enchantments. Okay, so an enchantment maker,
Mm-hmm.
we would like the gemist or jeweler or something like that, like a crafter could do that. So like you have to have like multiple crafting abilities to do certain things, like make certain items. You could like craft your own broom and then like make your own enchantments to put on said broom and then like meld them together.
I just had a crazy idea. So Arthur Weasley Ronstadt, he's like he kind of enchants like Muggle items. What if we had like a Muggle artifacts enchanter thing, and his like abilities was like releasing like a crazy enchanted washing machine that just sort of goes out and AOE's different people. You know, just
Yes. Oh my gosh, could you imagine running through a dungeon where you're like in the Ministry of Magic and something that he enchanted ended up there and you're like trying to battle these things through there?
yes. Oh my goodness. The the run that Harry and his friends did in the 5th book through the Department of Ministries, that would be a crazy dungeon. Because you had
Yes.
like those floating brain things and the Hall of Prophecies, the time turner room. It was a whole thing.
See, that's what I'm saying is depending on the time frame, you could be rerunning things, you know, like as like if it's after Harry Potter's time,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine like you're learning things in class and the new way to teach like experiences that happened was you have to run through them yourself in like a memory. And
So cool.
that would be the best explanation to be able to like have your own story but still get to like experience some of the things that we like know and love.
Right. Mm. On the topic of like classes and whatnot, I think whatever the case, this MMO would absolutely need a very good player like economy and ecosystem. They kind of like Final Fantasy 14, where crafters and gatherers and whatnot, they feed off each other, right?
Absolutely.
So you kind of got something similar in Elder Scrolls Online, but I don't really like that one because it doesn't have a whole. It's very clunky. Meanwhile, you have Final Fantasy 14 over here, where it just has like a board, and then everything is on that board.
Oh, you're talking about the market board.
Yes.
The sales board? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
love the market board. Um, yeah, just having something along those lines, even like a school board where like, you know, it's the same concept as market board, but school board. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I don't know. I was also thinking, side note, because my brain took a segue,
Go for
about
it.
like, you know how like Final Fantasy 14 has like free companies as like your guild per se?
Oh yeah.
Um, they'd be like class, what's the words I'm looking for?
Like clubs.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was thinking. Like clubs. So like you want to start your own club. It's your free company. It's your guild for your buffs and stuff.
Evil
Um,
Puppy Club.
and yeah, and then you could like affiliate with your house, your
Hmm.
Hogwarts house, or whatever school you chose, or something of that nature. Like how we affiliate with like grand companies.
Right. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I can definitely.
I have an answer for almost everything at this point. Whether they're the greatest answers, I don't know, but I do have answers for almost every option.
What I did
Well,
like
we're at
about that ecosystem and economy, though, it's that it generated a lot of material in a way, like loot, and that was one of Hogwarts Legacy's kind of weaker spots, in my opinion. It didn't really have great loot. Like, if I'm like going through this trial and I find this chest, it's kind of like off, like in this, like in the corner of this cave, it's kind of damp and whatnot, and I open up the chest and I find a pair of Quidditch gloves. I'm not gonna be entirely excited about it. You know, like cool, it gives me armor, but at the same time, it's Quidditch gloves. You know, where's the treasure? I want some
Yeah, but
treasure.
you can also have it again. Finals, the one I have reference to, but like where you can like glam items, like how they had it in Legacy, where you can glam your items to look like whatever you wanted them to.
True.
So like it might have the buffs that you need, but it might not look like you want it to, so you can make it look something else.
Mm. But no, I mean like artifacts, treasure.
Well, they can
It's
always have like treasure maps too.
true. True.
Like the portal dungeons. Have you done any dungeons in Final yet? Have you done any map
Mm,
dungeons?
map dungeons. I mean, I've done dungeons.
So you have to like find the maps or buy them from the market board from someone that did find them. It's
Mm,
literally a map in a bottle. And then like it gives you a general area. You have to go find the area and dig, and sometimes a portal comes up. Portal comes up, you go into like a specialty dungeon and you get like literally hundreds of thousands of gil and like specialty items.
no,
It's
that I have
wild.
not done.
So like it's a lot of fun. I literally have maps later tonight. Um But and we were doing it with my FC as well. Like every Sunday, we would run maps together. Very, very lucrative and a lot of fun. But something of that nature would be really cool to have also, even if that's where they did like the old run throughs of things that happened
Hmm.
for us to experience in the MMO.
Find the hidden pensive or something. You know,
Yeah. I mean, everyone wanted more puzzles. I love the Depulso room. That was probably one of my favorite. It was very frustrating.
very
Um,
frustrating. Like I gave up multiple times on the second one. I'm just like, I'll come back later. I looked up YouTube videos.
nope.
Just no.
No, I had a little help from like some of the people watching, but I didn't watch any YouTube videos.
I was in that room thinking to myself like, yeah, I'm not going to stream this. Right? No
It
one needs
was
to see
it was
that level of frustration from me.
it was great. But I think something like stuff like that like really brought in a lot of depth, in my opinion, to Legacy because the little puzzles and little things like that, made it more enjoyable. And I know that a lot of people weren't super excited about the Merlin trials, that there weren't enough of them,
Mm,
or they weren't as
or too
unique.
many.
Yeah, or too many of the same kind of deal. But like stuff of that nature could be easily expanded. And then it is an MMO, right? It's ever growing. It's constantly getting like new additions or special events. There are special events for every holiday.
Right.
For in Final at least. I don't know about other MMOs, but in Final there's, for every holiday here and in Japan, they do special quests where you get like a special mount or a special emote or something of that nature. We literally got a spellcaster little emote for Halloween last year.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, it's very cute. You like make, they'll throw out little sparks in a pumpkin.
Oh.
Um, but stuff like that, it's easy to do for like specialty events. The Triwizard tournament could be like a special thing that they do.
Mm-hmm.
They could do. the Yule Ball. They could do Quidditch events. There's so many like extra things that they could add in over time to keep the community growing and happy. And then, it's your own storyline. So it's easy to create expansions and storyline because you're not adding on to Harry Potter. You're making your own story about whatever you're doing. It's a whole other story. It's a whole other storyline. Like you're your own person.
Right.
I see so much growth ability here.
Well, totally. Like, not just from, the Wizarding World lore itself, it branches off into, well, it doesn't really branch. It takes away from other branching lores, like the Arthurian legends, because Merlin's from that. You got the Grimm fables, because you got like hags and whatnot. And even if you could look into the lore of those hags, they reference like different like fairy tales. And if you look into Fantastic Beasts, you'll see a lot of Greek influences, some Greek mythology. And these are all different places that you can kind of go to. Like if we could go over to ancient Greek a little bit and maybe experience some stuff over there, maybe fight a Cerberus boss. That'd be pretty cool.
I love Cerberus. He's a fun boss. We do get one in final. He eats you. Spoiler.
Nice.
Should have said spoiler first. It's okay. You got a long time, you'll forget.
Yeah, it'll be good.
There's so many ways that they could branch off and add to that. I think that a lot of people are concerned comes from being afraid of not sticking with true lore. But there is so much to go off of, and there's so much that isn't filled in too. Like, not to hurt anybody's feelings, I'm a giant Harry Potter nerd. I have 2 Harry Potter tattoos. It's not real, right? So at some point, there's not information there anymore. It's all just up to your imagination. At some point, the wall stops. And it's up to someone's creation and their imagination. Whether I know that there's so many creators out there that would love to be a part of it. I know J.K. Rowling would probably want to be a part of her own storyline, helping grow it. Whether they ask her for input, or they just go off of their own and say like, this isn't a Harry Potter MMO, this is a Wizarding World referenced MMO.
Right.
There's a lot of ways that they can do it to expand on it. I think
that'll probably be a pretty big challenge. Hogwarts Legacy proved that a lot of people are really interested in those kinds of unique stories. Aside from giving the game a thumbs up to be done, J.K. Rowling didn't really have a lot of involvement in the creation of it, at least narratively speaking. So, and the game garnered a lot of success. A lot of people liked it. The story wasn't on everyone's top of the, oh, this is what I really loved about the game list, but it was something that was appreciated because it was something different. It was something kind of going off on its own in a area that is familiar. But yeah, I do think that it's would be a bit of a challenge because there are massive spots in the world that are kind of just open to interpretation, and that is something that people need to be feeling creative.
Yeah, and on top of it, like, everyone's got their own opinions. We're human. We all have our own thoughts and stuff. And I feel like as long as it's out there as like, this isn't Harry Potter. Like, I think a lot of people forget that when they go into these things too. Like, we're not playing Harry. We're not playing, like, it could be totally cool, but we're not Harry.
Right. Even when Hogwarts Legacy was like actively launching, you still had people going like, where's Harry Potter? Where's Ron? Where's Hermione? Like, no. It's
your own story.
Exactly. This is your own story. Hundreds of years before. 100 years before.
Oh, and back to like creation, like when you're like logging in and creating your character. Sorry, my brain, it's going everywhere.
Go for it.
I was thinking about character creation of like your races and stuff. How cool that would be to like choose, like, if you're like, a full blood or a half blood, or if you're like a troll. Could you imagine all the different race options you could have?
like a half
because I
giant
can.
or goblins.
Oh my gosh, Goblin would be like equivalent to a Lalafell. I love it.
What if the game was like set like in the future, where you could be like a house elf that attended the school? The house elves would have
I
to be
love
like
that.
freed essentially, because
Yes. Well, that means Hermione succeeded. So
right,
all for it. Yes.
that would make sense for lore.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and the expansive character creation options of like races and what they could look like, um, because having like the equal opportunity of playing whatever your favorite race was in the storyline
Mm-hmm.
of Harry Potter and of lore, like learning wise, would be absolutely amazing. Because you know after Harry's time, like things did change, right? Like everything pretty much was more so equal in a sense where it wasn't like stepped on like the house elves weren't stepped on and stuff.
Right.
So having the opportunity to play all those races because of the change in lore, yeah, I can see that.
At the very least, it was on the path of.
Yeah, well, it depends on how future we were.
Hmm. Now I'm just thinking about all the different stuff.
Right.
This could happen and that could happen. This, but yeah, if they fill out, let's use Civil Morning for example. We just know about the school in Wizarding World America, and Fantastic Beasts did give us like, oh, there's also Makusa, but there's also different places that need to be accounted for. Like, where do the students go outside the school to hang out? What is the American equivalent of Diagon Alley? Where did they go to play Quidditch? It's
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all up to whoever the creators are to create these things. And yes, it's a huge task, right? And it could go very wrong. But again, you're looking at it as its own entity.
right.
I could see it being very amazing, unique, and having the option to check out different areas. Um, I mean, it might not be exactly how like someone would have imagined it on their own because we don't have as much information on them.
Hmm.
But the growth is there. And there's so many fan fictions out there too of like what things could be that you could easily tap into like crowd like questions, you know what I mean? Like reach out and like
Hmm.
how be like what do you guys see? What do you guys imagine this as? Have people put in drawings and their own opinions and then learn from feedback,
What do you
grow
want to
and
see?
create. Yeah. I don't really have an opinion. Like I said, I'm Hogwarts all the way. I didn't really dive deep into the other schools. So, I don't have an opinion. But there are plenty of people that did and have their opinions.
Right. Well, if there was like a place outside of Hogwarts that you would like to see,
And like explore.
yeah,
I would love to explore the Shrieking Shack.
that'd be cool.
I would like to explore it. We see it, we're in it. You know what I mean? Like in the movies and in the books, but like we don't get to actually explore it. Like
Hmm.
just being able to go there and like kind of like loot and like look around and like check what's in the walls and you know what I mean? Don't upset this, it might attack you. Like,
That
you
would
know what
be
I mean?
another cool like dungeon to visit.
Yeah, I could totally, yeah. There's a lot of different things like that I could see. I definitely do not look forward to anything in the Dark Forest because I don't like spiders and I don't want to have to fight spiders, but I know we're going to have to at some
Yeah,
point
you're gonna have
if
to.
this ever comes to fruition. Giant spiders are going to be a thing.
Definitely. Or maybe giant butterflies for.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, for the Easter egg, for the reference. I would love to visit the Japanese wizarding school. It's called Mohut. I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation. Let me Google it just
It's
to be
okay, I'm bad
safe.
at words too.
Japan visiting school. Mahutakaro. Yeah, basically the students. It's on an island, and the students get there to the island on the backs of these giant like storm kestrels, which is really
Ooh.
cool. And I think it'd just be really cool, like to see the architecture and see what they do differently firsthand.
Now I'm just picturing Kugane. Again, you're not there yet.
Now, I did play a little bit of the first bit of Stormblood. I didn't cross all the way through Heavensward. I didn't get all the way through that, but then Stormblood came out, and I was impatient. I was like, "Oh, fine, I'll buy the thing
Story
that
skip.
gets me there." Yeah, and
Cheater.
yeah, I know, I
Cheater.
know, I know. I felt bad
No, it's
doing it.
okay. It's okay. I say that, but I accidentally bought the story skip for my main character because I have an alt for like other friends that are like on a different data center.
Right?
And I bought the story skip for my alt and it accidentally sent to my main and you can't trade it. So I had to skip half of Shadowbringers. Someone's screaming at me
Oh
right now. I
no!
can feel it.
Oh no! Mm. Yeah, visiting the different schools, that'd be pretty awesome. Visiting different cultures, visiting world
Mm.
cultures, that'd be pretty cool. Oh,
Yeah, I think that the main concern that people are going to have is going to be, the extra details.
mm-hmm.
Um, and then
Like, you're gonna have people that are just like stomping around every expansion, being like, "J.K. Rowling approved this. Are you sure about this?"
yep.
So, yeah,
But that's the whole thing is like it's not going to be Harry Potter. Like if this ever happens, it's not going to be Harry Potter. It's just going
right.
to be based off of that lore and that's its own standpoint. Uh I'm still on the fence if it should be like job quests where you level it or if it
Mm-hmm.
should be like point to like I think it's World of Warcraft that does it like that, where like you like build up points like and then you place them where you want to place them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's World of Warcraft that does that, but I was thinking about that too if you wanted to like have multiples. Um, but I think that the standpoint is going to be like the biggest standoff that they're going to have is going to be that problem because everyone's going to want to play all these different jobs and test everything out and explore that open world aspect and being able to build your own home and
Yeah,
create your own club, FC, whatever, with your friends and be able to duel and all that stuff is going to bring everybody in.
can you imagine the player housing? Oh
I
my
would love it.
goodness. You could grab one of those tents that's like bigger on the inside and just
Oh
pop
my
it down
gosh, yes.
anywhere.
Be like an entire housing area of just tents.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like one of the areas it could just be like called like the campsite or something like that. They're all tents in there.
Right. Oh my goodness. That'd be so cool. Elder
There's a
Scrolls
lot of or
Online.
houses.
Mm-hmm.
Houses like the Weasley's house.
Definitely. Oh, or Grimold Place, where it's kind of like in between two townhouses and it slides out.
Yeah, but then there'd have to be two people on the outside too. So you'd
True.
have to like bid really high on like that middle part.
No, this house is mine.
Listen, I am okay with the lottery system in Final Fantasy 14 because now it's a lottery system. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
before I played, people told me you had to like spam hit the unit to like buy it. So people would be
Yeah,
standing there for like 8 hours. So I'm totally okay with the lottery system.
I didn't know that there was a lottery system now, but I gave up on trying to get it like any kind of housing in Final Fantasy 14. I'm like,
Oh.
I'll just join the FC and get an apartment in there. That'll
Yeah,
be
get a
fine.
room. Is when you played, you had to do the spamming thing where you had to
Mm-hmm.
just keep clicking the oh that stings. Yeah, now you place a bid, or like you like buy like a lottery ticket. It tells you your number on
Mm-hmm.
that unit, and then it's like 3 or 4 days, and then you go back to the unit, and if you won it, then you get it. If you didn't win it, you get your gil back. So
Oh.
it's nice. It's frustrating for people that like have multiple alts and like buy multiple tickets. That
Mm-hmm.
stinks. Um, but overall, I think it's a good system and it saves people time.
It definitely sounds better than the last.
Yes.
But yeah, play. player housing in a Wizarding World MMO. That'd be crazy. Because you could have like a house in just about anything, like a box, the nude
Shoe.
suitcase, a shoe.
Instead of aetherites, you could have port keys.
Oh, yes, that's awesome. That's a great idea.
Or okay, I'm sorry. The port keys could be the aether nets, and then the aetherites could be like the chimneys, to go
The
through
flue
flue
flames.
powder. Yeah, flue flames.
Oh, we just need to start like a game design document and just sort of like map
And then
this out.
email it over. Yeah.
Yeah, like, here you go. We figured this out.
We have it all laid out for you. Here is how you could do it. Now create it. Thanks.
Oh wow. Or like they probably throw it back to us like, no,
No, this is too much work. There's
this
gonna be
is
too
too
much
much
hate
work.
here.
But I mean, come on, like David Zaslav and the rest of the WB executives, they're like quadrupling down on live service gaming, and for the life of me, I cannot think of a better, more successful, historically speaking, more successful live service type game than an MMO. And I kind of get where James is coming from, like the concern of like, hey, there's, you got World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, and Elder Scrolls Online, and all the rest of them out there. Even Lord of the Rings Online is still up and going.
Yeah,
Has
I
a
didn't
pretty
know
good
that was
player
a
base.
thing until yesterday. I didn't know that
Right.
was a thing. Or today. I didn't know that was a thing.
And they're like they're making another version of it too. It's
But the pull, okay, I'm going to contradict myself here.
mm,
The pull of a Harry Potter MMO is going to be the same pull that Hogwarts Legacy had, right? It's the gamers that love Harry Potter and the people that don't game that love Harry Potter that are going
right.
to get drawn to it. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, and I'm going to say it because I literally said it to my husband last night. I probably would not leave Final Fantasy 14 to play a Harry Potter MMO. I
Fair.
personally would not.
And
I would not.
it's understandable.
I I love Final Fantasy 14. I've
Hmm.
spent so much time in this game. I have a lot of friends in this game.
Hmm.
Um, I've worked very hard in this game, and I do not have enough time in my life to play 2 MMOs. So that could definitely be a concern of creating a Harry Potter MMO. Is a lot of people like me that have like a lot of time and effort into Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 11. That one's still going. That won't leave those MMOs to play another one.
Right.
That could definitely be a fear. But there's so many people that don't typically play games that would.
Hmm. Yeah, if I had to choose between like one or the other, I probably would not drop my culinarian, given how much insanity I've put into that character. Just,
Oh yeah. But some people get bored of it. I have friends that
mhm,
have left Final 14 because they're burnt out. It's a
right.
lot of grinding. And they don't resub for a while. And that's okay. Don't resub, go play something else. And there's people that would choose to go to another one. But do you also think of like the community aspect of Final Fantasy, right? What did I just say? I wouldn't leave because of all the friends that I made and all the growth that we've all made in like our free company. I'm in 2
Hmm.
free companies because I've got one on my main and one on my alt. So the free companies that I'm in and all the things we've crafted together and the things we've ran together, and we've got map nights and we've got, grinding parties. Like we work on this stuff together because it's a team effort, because it's an MMO. People like James and Retro, who have such a large community of people that love to play with them and hang out with them, and their communities with our communities, I guess, as a whole, because a lot of us overlap in a lot of ways,
Right.
would love to all play together and have an access point where we can all play together.
Definitely.
The phone games the phone games are harder to hold on to for sure.
Hmm.
Everyone loved doing those together. Magic Awakened and stuff, because it was something community driven.
Right.
I think that that's going to be the biggest pull for Harry Potter MMO is the people that love the Wizarding World and having that community get together.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
That's, I think, going to be the biggest selling point is you love Harry Potter, you love the Wizarding World, you want to be an R, you want to Magizoologist. Wow, I can't speak anymore. Like, go hop in, hang out with your friends, fiddle around with the lore and learn things and build your own freaking club and battle beasts, have tribe quests.
Right.
That would be the big pull.
Now, Magic Awakened, it's sort of kind of like an MMO, but there's something a little different about it, right? Because it has captured that sort of community aspect, but for one reason or another, it hasn't really gained a whole lot of traction like a lot of people were expecting.
The playability of it is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. I liked it at first. It felt grindy, not in a fun way, and it also felt money grabby. I didn't like that either.
Right. Definitely.
And it was not, the interface was not friendly, I guess. I had a hard time figuring out how to add friends and connect and play things together. And like other people didn't have that as much difficulty as I did. I noticed I definitely did. So I stopped playing pretty quick.
Yeah, there was definitely a learning curve with how the interface worked. Trying to learn how to make friends was also somewhat difficult, but and especially trying to join like James's community, that took a minute. I'm not. It just does seem kind of clunky. Now the dueling, on the other hand, I think they kind of nailed it. I think they nailed it there, in my opinion.
I had a hard time with that too.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with that too. I think the card system is also confusing. For me, I had a harder time understanding the card system and why I couldn't use something, but I could use another card, even though they were all like cooled down. There was a lot of confusion there because it didn't give information. It told you what the card did, but it didn't tell you cooldown time or anything else. There is no like telling you how much damage it did or how much protection it did. It just was a general consensus of it's this spell.
It's this spell. This is what it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
It did seem there was a lot of learning on your own with Magic Awakened.
A lot of games are, especially MMO style games. There wasn't much information out there, and there was plenty of YouTubers and Reddits and stuff with information on there, but I had to like dig to learn anything, and that's not fun for me.
Right.
So I kind of gave up on it, and it sucks because like I had roommates, and I'm really sorry. I'm not gonna say my roommate's name because I don't want to throw her out there, but I'm really sorry that I left you the way I did. I got really frustrated.
Oh.
I had dorm mates, and I feel bad, but I got very flustered and frustrated, and I deleted it, and I feel bad saying it.
No, I get it. I deleted mine too, and I'm still involved in one of James's his duck squad, and I get the notifications like, "All right, let's do a quiz. All right, let's do dueling. Or let's go on an adventure." And I'm just like, "Sure, buddy, I'll be there. Maybe." Not.
I think I was in retros, but I couldn't. I had so much difficulty with the game. I wish I didn't, but I did.
I hear a lot of people think the story is great, and it is. There are moments, there are highlights, but for me, I had a hard time getting into it, and I'm not sure if it was like the pace of it. I'll just be sitting there. Right, yeah, I'll just be sitting there kind of listening to Gossamer kind of go on, and I'm just like, I could be doing something else right now.
I think it was frustrating that I got to a certain point in the story and I was really interested, and then I couldn't go any farther. I had to like wait. It like timed me out. Like I had to wait till I could go any farther, and that annoys the crap out of me. I like to be able to continue when I want to continue.
Right. That was my problem with Hogwarts Mystery, because it has those, those time
That
gates.
too.
But if you pay a certain amount of crystals for it, you can
Nope.
go straight on through. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No. Mm-mm. If I wanted to pay a subscription game, I'll play Final Fantasy, which I do.
Exactly.
Like, if you want a subscription-based game, then make a subscription type game. Don't try to money grab for crystals, because when you
Mhm.
say it's a free game, people think it's a free game.
Right.
And then the reason why they don't hold on to people is because you have to buy to like get more cards or get more time, or like that. You don't hold on to people that way. I think
Right.
Genshin Impact was one of the only games that you had like where you could buy for like certain things that kept people.
Mm-hmm. Going back to Final Fantasy 14, I like their Mog Station because it's optional, right? You don't
Oh
have
yeah,
to.
all the glams and emotes and stuff. I've spent way too much money in there, but yes.
Same. Oh wow.
Yeah,
What?
but it is all optional. None of it. The only the only stuff in there that is like quote unquote like pay to play or pay to win, like in a sense, is like your job skip or story skip,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. All it does is get you to that point, and the rest of it's on you, buddy.
Right.
Like it gives you your gear, it gives you your job, or it gives you that part in the story, and like it's on you. Like you have to play it. You have to figure out how to run that job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I have quite a few jobs that were like gifted to me that are all at that level 80, and I haven't figured them out yet.
What
Um,
do all these buttons mean?
yeah, so many, 3 full lines of freaking buttons. Um, I
YouTube, go.
literally I literally just got Astrologian yesterday because I really wanted to try it, and I was like, I'm not leveling that from 1 to 100. It's not happening. And I tried to go into a low level dungeon. Like I went
Mm-hmm.
into duty roulette leveling. I'm like, I'm gonna get like a level 15. It'll be fine. I'll only have a couple things. No, it put me in a level 77 dungeon, and everyone died, and I have no
Oh.
res button.
Oh no.
I said, I'm sorry. I'm going to leave you guys out of love, and they were very nice.
Oh, that's.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not a pay to win. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not a paid like yes, you have to pay a subscription, but I mean you pay for the game and it's an online service. It's like paying
You
for any
need the
other online
knowledge.
service. Yeah. You have to have the knowledge, you have to learn it yourself. You're not winning unless you know what you're doing.
So, if there is like a Wizarding World Online, do you think it would be better to be free to play or a subscription based game?
I think it should very much be laid out how Final Fantasy 14 is.
Mm.
And that is going to tick some people off, but
Yeah.
I think that the devs behind it, they get okay. This is so contradictory of so many people think. They do not get paid by the companies out of like the goodness of their hearts. They get paid off of like, what they make. So if we are not paying for subscriptions, those devs do not get paid. If those devs don't get paid well, we get crap devs,
Yeah.
which means our games do not get better. And things are expensive. I'm an adult. I'm 31 years old. Like life is expensive. I choose to spend, the $15 a month on my subscription for Final Fantasy instead of like going out to bars and stuff, which I'm tired at 9 o'clock, so that doesn't happen. But like, like I choose to spend like that monthly fee here because I love this game and I want to support the game. And I think that the devs work really hard on like upkeeping on bugs and keeping our stuff protected. And I can trust that my payment stuff is safe with Square Enix. I can trust that the game is going to be up and running. They do their monthly maintenance and everything. And if it's a free game, you're less likely to have those good devs and those people that really have like their heart and soul into it and care into it.
Those
That is the
assurances.
main reason why.
And even if you do, like, even when you do pay for those bigger expansions, you know that you're getting your money's worth out of it. And
Absolutely. They put so much work into it.
definitely.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would love to have a free game. Trust me, I want free stuff too, but I also want to support the people that work their butts off to learn how to create this kind of stuff for us. Younger me probably would have not thought this way. I'd have been like free all the way, but
Yeah,
I,
right.
I have such I have such appreciation for coding in general. Like one of my friends was trying to teach me how to mod what was that game? It's some kind of I haven't even played it yet. It's some kind of like scary shooter game that got really popular for a while. It got gifted to me. I haven't played it yet. Um I can't remember what it's called,
Yeah,
but
I'm
she was
blanking.
trying to huh?
Yeah, I'm blanking too. Scary
I
shooter
don't
game.
know. Yeah, well, it's like I don't know. I don't play shooter games and I rarely play horror games, but she thought I would have fun with it. And you got giant spiders that like jump out at you and stuff. I haven't even
Oh
loaded the game
no.
yet. Yeah, I haven't even
Nah.
loaded the game yet. But she was like, "Let me teach you how to mod it so that way we can all play together." And like mods are okay in this game. Like some it's against TOS. This one it's not. It's okay.
Mhm.
Um, and like I couldn't figure it out. So like if I can't even figure out how to like mod a game like that, I couldn't imagine trying to build a game. Are you kidding me? How much
Right.
work goes into that? Take my money.
Yeah, I did some modding for Skyrim a little bit, and just making like the followers you get in Skyrim. That is an insane amount of like coding and whatnot. Scripting. Getting their voice lines put in the right place. They've made improvements, and when I say they, I mean like the modding people, the community have made like improvements on how to get that, uh, make that easier. But in the beginning of it, it was very tedious. It was months of labor.
Lethal Company.
Lethal Company.
It came to me. Yeah, I know. I haven't even launched it yet.
That's a horror shooter game with spiders. Yeah.
10 out of 10. Don't recommend. I
Yeah.
haven't opened it yet, but
Thanks. Sounds like a bad time.
a lot of people have fun with it. But yes, that's the one that I was trying to learn how to mod with her, and I just nope.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think paid going full circle. I think
Hmm.
it should be a subscription base.
Do you think? I'm kind of torn between the two options of either, starting it all at Hogwarts or having different places you can start off from. Because if we do start things off at Hogwarts, no matter what we do or anywhere we go, really, everything is going to have to be like scaled up to maintain the size of the amount of players that are going to be in different locations. So
Mhm.
it's not going to look like Hogwarts Legacy. Olivander's that little
No.
cramped, closet little store. That's going to look like a massive chamber with like that can fit like 100 different players. So I'm not sure in terms of aesthetic, anyway.
I think. Hmm. Well, okay. There are some places in Final that are smaller, though,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the big hub areas are larger. I don't personally run into a lot of players in the smaller areas. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Plus, you can buy wands anywhere, right? That's not just Olivander's. Olivander's shop
Sure,
is just smaller.
sure.
And that could always be like the cutscene of the first time you get your first wand, right? If you choose to get your first wand there, where it's an individual spot. Because there's some areas in Final that like you can't see other players. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll come out of a dungeon or a trial and like it'll be like a cutscene and then you'll be in this area where there's no other players that can inhabit that area but you. So it could be one of those where like you load in and it's just you in the shop.
Yeah, that works. That works.
So that way it keeps true to lore of what it would look like.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. On the topic of wands, do you think we'd just have like our own wand and then that'd be it, or would it be like weaponry or like gear where you can like switch them out?
Like upgrade with like your job level.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking.
I think, huh? Because keeping with lore, you only have your wand, right? You can't use others.
I mean, you can use others; it just wouldn't be as
They wouldn't
effective.
work. Right. So you couldn't like evolve your wand. I think maybe having it where you have your wand, unless like, yeah, you have like your wand and then you have to like repair it and maybe like add enchantments to it as like your
Mm-hmm.
upgrades throughout like your leveling process.
Like you have tiers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like maybe even a sense of like a point tree where you can kind of place what you would like, how you want your skills to sit for your wand too.
That'd be cool. So like your wand becomes like the hub of your skills. Essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a unique idea.
That came from 16. That thought process came from 16.
Fair, fair.
From your iconic abilities.
Right, right. That was a good game.
So good.
Mm.
Favorite of all time. Nothing will ever beat it in my book.
Oh no, Dragon Age is coming out.
I have a Clive tattoo, okay? Nothing is beating Final Fantasy 16 in my book.
All right, fair, fair, fair.
There's no topping Clive.
Uh, we're gonna move on to the next.
Yes, probably good.
Oh well. So, is there anything else you'd like to see from a Wizard World MMO?
Let me go through my notes and see if I missed anything because I got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I figured you'd have like, you definitely have more notes than I do. I'll just put it that way.
Well, when you asked me, and comparatively with Final, it was very easy. It was very easy. We talked about the customization system, crafting systems. Talked about role switching abilities because I think that that's very important
Mm-hmm.
with PvP. The dueling clubs we talked about, dungeon raids. I think that we touched on basically all the outlines of my notes.
I wonder how
Oh,
Quidditch would work.
Dylan did say something about should we be able to go into adulthood.
Oh yeah,
What do you think about that?
I think that would be inevitable. Honestly,
Because it's growth.
right. But that implies age. So would the level of our character be our age?
Then
No.
it would take like a whole like in-game year to be able to level up, and that doesn't seem sensible either.
Well, I mean, it could be tied to the narrative. You know, you get to a certain quest and, oh, you're in year 2. Congratulations.
Yeah, but then you can't grind for it because then you'd be going past everybody.
Yeah. I think that'd be tricky.
Yeah, I think that would be a tricky aspect as well. I would see maybe unless instead of like being like a student option, being more of like a student teacher option or like a
Mm.
like a stand-in or like a Mr. Filch kind of vibe. I don't know. Not Mr. Filch, obviously. We don't want to be him. But maybe
Fair,
someone
yeah.
that works in the school or if we did have like a student system where you do age with each expansion, maybe
Mm. That'd be cool.
like each expansion would be like different year and like you have like your cap out leveling. So like a final like has like their cap out leveling for each expansion. Like right
Mm.
now we're at 90. Dawn Trail will be 100. Um it could be like that where like your first the core game you max out at 50 and then the first expansion max out at 60, 70, 80, etc. Where like each expansion's like a different school year.
Mm.
And then that way at some point you do reach adulthood and everyone's kind of getting there at the same time rather than kind of grinding past someone else to where it doesn't fit the story.
Right.
So there'd be an expansion of adulthood. So you could go through like the 4 years and 4 different expansions. You
That'd
have
be
like
pretty
that
cool.
growth ability. Yeah.
I might be a little controversial, but I honestly think that we should just skip the schools entirely and just start straight off at adulthood.
How are you gonna learn your stuff?
You'd jobs.
Like
So
job quests.
yeah, so being an herbologist, you'd have the herbology, quests and those abilities and whatnot. Being an
But then wouldn't
aura
you
would
be
be
locked in? You'd be locked into that job though. Like
yeah,
WoW.
yeah.
So they would be more of like a WoW setup where like you choose your job from the get-go and you have to make an additional character to try another job, which is good
Hmm.
for replayability. I could totally see that. But in MMO, you typically just want to have one
Yeah,
character and grind it.
fair for fair. True.
It just depends on which route, a creator would want to take. If they'd want to have it more like WoW or more like Final.
It'd be interesting. It would definitely, depending on which choice they took with that, it would definitely shift.
Like options that they would
Yeah,
have on how they do things. Yeah.
because on one
Because you
side you
could
could do kind of anything, but on the other side you'd have to pick and
make multiple
choose.
characters.
Mm.
Yeah. But like if it's that's the thing though, like if it's a solo game, having something that so like if Legacy had that, something
Mm-hmm.
of that nature for like their second if they I don't know if they're making a second game. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't kept up on that. But like if they made like a second game into adulthood, fingers
Yeah,
crossed. If they
fingers
make like a
crossed.
second game like into adulthood, right? Where like you choose your job, but it's like a choice option that gives you replayability for like a solo game. But I feel like for an MMO, having access to unlock and play all of them is what
Mm-hmm.
keeps an MMO running. That's what keeps people resubbing. Because I'm done. Like I finished. I started as a marauder and I went to Dark Knight because it's the next tank class. Like I goes to warrior and then I could have Dark Knight because it's all tank and it rolls together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm max level now. I'm there. I finished MSQ. So if I couldn't do anything else, I wouldn't be resubbing. I would stop subbing and I would wait until Dawn Trail came out. But because I have all these other jobs and options and crafting and gathering and things that I can level, I'm continuing to resub and work on other jobs.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. It would definitely have to be important to have players consistently moving and filling in position where they can.
Yeah, absolutely. It's queue times too, man.
Definitely, yes. I didn't even think about that. Oh my goodness.
Queue times. Because everyone's gonna want to play an R.
I know we've kind of more or less answered these questions, but I did kind of want to go back over them since they were given to us. Right. So Dylan McLeod or McLeod, Dylan McDonald, whatever you want to say his name. He'll tell me later, probably. His first question was, should the whole game take place in Hogwarts School, or should it eventually lead into adulthood? I think we just answered that one, but
Mhm.
my answer definitely was, yeah, it should definitely eventually lead into adulthood and kind of go
Yeah,
beyond that.
with expansions, absolutely.
Because even Hogwarts Mystery kind of hit that point. They went through all 7 years, and they were like, okay, we got to go out of here. I don't like the way Hogwarts Mystery kind of took it, because even after they went beyond Hogwarts, in quotations, a lot of it is still like going straight back to Hogwarts and talking to all the different people. It's
Yeah.
kind of like graduating and just turning around and going back to school, be like, hey, I know I left this place, but here I am. What do you think?
Yeah, I think having it set up in like an expansion base of, your the first core game being like going in, starting school, getting your footing, something happens where you have to battle, right? Something. There's some reason, right? There's always some core evil or issue conflict. And then, the first expansion being like year 2, and then et cetera, and moving on. Because I can see, MMOs, they're forever games for the most part. They keep going as long as their servers stay up, and going through the school years, and then eventually going into adulthood as an expansion. Because then there's so many different side quests and like additions that you could do once you get into that point.
Right.
Even like you can't have housing until you're at a certain year. You know what I mean? Because usually they don't
Right.
open up housing until I don't think they had housing in A Realm Reborn at first. I think that that came a little bit later, or like during like another update, like a patch. So like, that kind of stuff doesn't get launched until later. Until then, you just get dorms, because you would have a dorm as a student.
Right.
So I can see that being a good place to go and
Maybe
having
like
that
maybe like
growth.
clubhouses, you know?
Yeah.
That could
Yeah.
work.
Oh, absolutely. That would be cool.
So that way it's not like, here's your house. It's
Yeah.
a confined space.
Yeah.
His second question being, also, should you be able to pick which school you attend as your server? Which,
I I say no,
yeah.
because again, you will overcrowd servers, and the
Mm-hmm.
servers are based off of where you live in the world. So someone that lives in the UK that doesn't want to go to Hogwarts, they want to go somewhere else. Well, that's the server that they're going to be asked to put into. I have a character in an EU server,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm in the US. So like I do have a character in the other server, but it's slower lags,
Right.
um, but or higher lags, but that would overcrowd servers. And again, with MMOs, it's not about replayability; it's about continuing growth on your character.
Right.
Whereas like solo standing games, it is about replayability. Um, so I think having it more so as like a name to choose from would be cool, and less so of that is your storyline.
Right.
Now, could they have that? Absolutely. But when servers overcrowd,
What then?
then they can't expand then. Yeah, what then?
And having just an entire location dedicated to one particular server, I think, like you said, I think that would just tick off a lot of people.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
like I said, I want to go visit the Japanese wizarding school, and maybe fly on the back of a Thestral or whatnot. I don't want to have to like make an account for a different server for that.
Well, you can typically data center travel too, because like
True.
I data center travel with my characters. I'm currently logged in on my other screen. I'm not playing. I'm being respectful, I swear. But I didn't close out my game because I'm in a party, and I'm currently not in my own world. I traveled to a different data center to help a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say that, but my friend helped me. Um, I'm grinding.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but
understandable.
like
You,
being
you
able to
got to
like
keep up the
travel with like,
grind.
yeah, it's culinarian, man. They're hard.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like you can travel, but again, it would have to be a different storyline too that they would have
Mm-hmm.
to create, whereas I think the schools choice of schools should be more so of aesthetics and less of a story change.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can visit the areas instead of like go to said schools,
Right.
because that would be astronomical amount of work in a story to create that many different storylines to where we all converge at some point for battles.
And not just stories. Everything that kind of goes along with that: characters, dungeons, and
Mm-hmm. Because there would have to be different dungeons for different schools because it wouldn't combine at that point. But then we'd
mm-hmm.
have to have multiple party systems and duty finders in order to make that happen. So that would have to be different HUD systems. It would be too much. So I think, having a main source school and then being able to visit the other locations.
Right.
Um,
I
even if
think
you're
it'd
not going to
be.
Hogwarts.
Mhm. I think it'd be great to have like, seeing those different schools as like expansions, though. You get to visit them as a whole new expansion, like
Ooh.
after you finish Hogwarts or whatever. But
Or even like the Triwizard Tournament.
Oh, true. But I mean, I get the appeal of wanting to start in a school that is in your home, essentially, in your home continent or whatever. Like, if I had to choose between starting at Hogwarts for the 100,000th time and starting at Ilvermorny, I'd probably start at Ilvermorny. But I can fully understand and respect the reasoning behind starting at Hogwarts, because it's
Yeah.
Hogwarts, right? It's the one thing that kind of grounds the entire Wizarding World together as a franchise.
Yeah.
So we'll get to James here in a minute. Alex from Podcast Now, he says it would do incredible at launch, which I agree with. What do you think they need to do to keep the players going? I'll let you start off with that one.
Big part will be like the content updates. So the extra story, like after you finish MSQ, right, you have your side quests and then the additional quests that happen. There's multiple patches that have specialty quests. So those updates will obviously hold people in there. The community events, like we talked about, like the Quidditch tournaments, the Triwizard tournaments, and like special seasonal stuff like Christmas events and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. That will bring people back. And then you think of like all the goodies that you would get from running those quests. You know, you get like a special um, Christmas robe and hat for running the special Christmas event that you can only get during the event. Stuff, you know, like that.
Yeah.
We did touch on like the player housing and customizations, like the
Mm-hmm.
wizarding houses. That will keep people on forever. The building community in Final Fantasy 14 is absolutely
Oh yeah.
astronomical.
I would just
Astronomical.
visit different houses and just keep on going to different
Yep.
like neighborhoods and just like be lost and
Nosy.
amazed and all. Yeah,
I'm
definitely
super
nosy.
nosy. I'm super nosy.
Like, how did they do this? Ooh, interesting.
Um, the quality improvements, again, maintenance is very important. Keeping maintenance up, that keeps
Mm-hmm.
people going. And the player feedback, that, like I said, I have bullet points for everything. The player feedback integration. So like being able to like listen to when people are like, okay, this isn't right, we should update this,
Mm-hmm.
and like making those changes as it grows. Listen, Final Fantasy 14 tanked when it first started. People don't
Yeah.
talk about that very much, but it tanked. They completely scrapped the game. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why the first expansion, the base is called A Realm Reborn is because it tanked so bad that they completely remade the entire game.
They dropped a moon on it, so yeah.
Like it there's no possible way it's going to come out and be absolutely perfect right away. Zero. So just listening to feedback is going to be the biggest way to get people to like come back, keep playing, keep going. And again, it's freaking Wizarding World, okay?
Right.
People will play whether it sucks or it's great. It's just reality.
Still, though, it would require that level of commitment. Like, of yeah, maybe they will need to drop a moon on it and kind of start the whole thing over from scratch. You know,
Yep.
pull a CD Project Red with their Cyberpunk and fix it up. You know, it's as good as the game Final Fantasy 14 is now, or Cyberpunk even for that matter. You can tell that the community greatly appreciates the effort of actually going back and doing that restart.
Absolutely. And so again, going back to what we said like an hour ago about the subscription base, if we do not have devs that actually care and are actually getting paid well for what their work, we're not going to get those good devs that actually care and make the
Right,
effort. So it's got to be the give and take here.
right, exactly. And yeah, to get to the point of, or to readdress the point of like what keeping players there. I'll echo the part where you said they have the seasonal stuff. I like about Final Fantasy 14 is that they don't just like give you like, oh, here's some free stuff for you to play with. No, there's actually like events. Like you can go to the, like, what was that egg event thing? The for like, it wasn't Easter, but it was a was an event that had like eggs or whatnot, and like a bunny or something Easter-like, or maybe like chocobo. Anyway, it was crazy. It was a
Are
good
you talking
time.
about Are you talking about the Moogle events?
Maybe. Anyway,
Yeah,
it was the
where you
one
have
that
to
has
like
like a parade, like the
they've
different
got the
cities.
Moogle they've got the Moogle tombstones, so where like they've got Moogle events that
Mm-hmm.
appear, and you have to like grind for like irregular tombstones, and then you can turn those in for like specialty items like orchestra rolls, mounts, gear, stuff like that, like special things that you normally can't get or are really hard to get. Um, that that is such a grind, and I love it so much. We just finished one, and then they've also got there's another one going on right now. It's a Yukimi watch. I don't know the anime. It's a very old school anime, and you can like run fates to get these tokens to get the minions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a special event that's going to end. The Final Fantasy 16 event that happened not too long ago. Final Fantasy 15 event. Can you imagine how many Harry Potter events that they could have?
So many, probably
So
too
many.
many,
Never ending.
never ending. Yeah, you could have those kinds of events, and another point I'd make is just a good player community, which isn't really something developers can just plant a seed and let it grow into one. You know, it's something that has to naturally come about. But I really enjoy the community of Final Fantasy XIV and just sort of the atmosphere that they give off in these different settings. Like when Bard came out and they gave people the ability to actually use the instruments and whatnot.
Play
Uh,
music. Oh, I
yeah,
love
the
bard
orchestras,
shows.
like the pop-up Bard show. Yeah, the Bard show. That's
I
what it's called.
love them.
They're so great. Everybody will just sort of like stop and just watch them,
Mm-hmm.
even though they're playing like a subscription. They're paying $15 to play this game, and they'll spend like an hour watching these bards play different songs. And you know, that's something I find really cool.
And they can play anything they want. I don't know
Right.
if you've ever played Bard, but like they actually have to learn how to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like click a button, choose a song. Like they actually have to learn how to play the song. It is wild because I unlocked Bard and I immediately was like, "Oh boy,
Like this is not
I
automated.
can't I cannot do this." Cuz I was like, "I'm surprised that they pick like Blink 182 to put in here." Like wild. And then I unlocked it. I'm like, "Okay, there's no button to play the song. I don't
Oh
know how to play an
no.
instrument."
Yeah, Bard was my first class in Final Fantasy XIV, and then at some point I just got really sick of waiting forever, so I became a healer.
Oh, cute times. Yeah.
Right, yeah. The great motivator.
Well, not to get into controversy, but there is a healer strike right now. So if you're getting back on final, don't. I mean, do play healer because we need more of them.
What's the healer strike for?
I don't main healer, so I don't have too many opinions on what is happening. But essentially, there's a lot of updates on tanks and DPSs that can kind of like self heal and self sustain. So healers don't feel
Oh,
as necessary. So a lot of healers are like on a healer strike until they fix it.
rude. Like, no, I
I
get it. I get it.
I
But
get it, but I don't main healer, so I don't have say. And I die a lot as a tank. I'm not a great player. I love it. I love playing. I'm really bad. So, I need my healer.
I as a white mage, I understand the wanting to be needed in the group, but at the same time, I also understand the anxiety that kind of comes with it. Like, so other people having the ability to kind of heal themselves every once in a while, that I feel like that would be a good thing. But then again, I'm not really playing nowadays, so
I need my healers.
right.
Please come back.
Right. Last but not least, Expecto Go, good old James. He says, I'm more worried about how it could compete within the space. As much as this is a no-brainer, what will it offer that will pull away players who've put in 10,000 hours in Elder Scrolls, Final Fantasy XIV, etc., and how will it pull in non-gaming Potterheads? I Yeah, I feel like you answered this one. It probably isn't going to pull you away from Final Fantasy 14.
I just pulled up my playtime. I'm gonna tell you my current playtime
Go for it.
with playing for a little less. I'm what, 9 months, I think. So let me check my playtime right now. And this is just on this character. I have multiple characters. So my playtime right now on this character is only 1,657 hours in 9 months.
Only.
And I say only because I feel like it's very low. I feel like that's very low for 9 months personally. And then 33 minutes, but that's neither here nor there. But I feel like that's very low. Again, this is just one character. This is my main character that I'm currently logged in on. But
so it sounds like you don't like the game.
love this game so much. But like I said, I personally would not leave Final for Harry Potter MMO. But I know some people that would, and there's plenty of people that don't game that would start gaming for that. I mean, look at what Legacy brought. A lot of people listen, I wasn't a gamer before Legacy. The first game that I ever finished in my entire life, I'm not talking about adulthood, I'm talking about my entire life, was goodness gracious, where's my brain? God of War Ragnarok. And the only reason why I finished that game is because I told myself that I had to finish one game before I started Hogwarts Legacy, so that way I had that under my belt to know that I can get through a game because I wanted to finish it. And it took me like 6 months to finish God of War Ragnarok, and it was really hard, and I didn't touch any side quests. But when I went into Hogwarts Legacy, I was more than ready to like run everything, and I did run everything. I almost platinumed it. I still have to play Gryffindor, but
My last one
I
is
became
Hufflepuff for PC, and then I got all the achievements.
yeah. My last one is just getting to the map room for Gryffindor.
Yeah.
But I didn't become a gamer until I played Legacy. I didn't, and then I played, a couple other games here and there that I kind of touched on, and then I played Final Fantasy 15 for a little bit. Then I finished 16 3 times. And then I played 7 and 14, and here I am a little over a year later, and I literally have a wristband on for wrist brace because I play too much. A wrist, get something for your wrist, friends. Please just do it. If you're a PC gamer, just invest in a squishy for your wrist. Just listen to me, please, and use it. But Legacy pulled me to play, right? So a Harry Potter MMO would definitely grab people to play. And I think that it's not so much, you shouldn't worry so much about like how it would work in the space, because the gaming space is ever growing and ever evolving. There's constantly new games coming out. And I don't think there is going to be, for Harry Potter like mega fans, there's not going to be anything else that would compete with a Harry Potter MMO.
True. Definitely. Like, I love Final Fantasy 14, and I somewhat like Elder Scrolls Online and, occasionally World of Warcraft back when I was able to play those games. Oh, good times. Anyway, but Wizarding World has its own unique style. Yeah, Magic and a lot of those other games, they kind of feel the same way, or at least they hit the same way, if that makes sense. But with the Wizarding World, it feels like Magic style. Now, don't get me wrong, my white mage could, fill up the entire screen with white light and fireworks. I was going somewhere with this, but I think I lost the point.
Oh, okay. I was waiting.
Yeah, I was waiting too. I'm like, where am I going with this? Anyway, moving on to the second half of James's thing. He says, that being said, it must have one, multiple professions to pick from, or a metrozoologist professor. I feel like that's a given.
Those would have to be your jobs.
Right.
They'd have to be those roles that you play: healer, tank, DPS. That's how MMOs are run. You've got your three main roles. You got your jobs underneath those roles.
Mm-hmm.
Crafter, gatherer.
And he says, number 2, multiple wizarding schools or governments to pick from: Wagadu, Ilvermorny. I'm going to try to pronounce this: Mohutakaro. Hopefully I said that right. This one, I could probably see those as like expansions, but I feel like we would have to start off in good old Hogwarts. I feel like trying to, having those different locations all together all at once would probably way too much for the start of a game. Now, granted, Final Fantasy XIV, it starts off with like Gridania and Oda and Limsa Lominsa, but they're still relatively close together, right?
Yeah, I mean they're their own. They're not different countries or anything like that. They're just different well, technically they are different governments. They are different governments. Same with Kugane when eventually you get there. They're all different governments and stuff. And the world does expand with each expansion as well. You've got your main hub that you start from. And like even looking at Dawn Trail coming up, we're literally finding a new world right now. The map will expand to like an astronomical amount. So yeah, I think with the growth of the expansions, you could see more areas to kind of be able to explore all of that, because you do have to start with a smaller area so you can expand with each expansion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you get everything all at once, where are you going to go to? Doesn't Final Fantasy XIV go to like the moon or something?
Shh, don't give people spoilers. That's Endwalker.
Sorry, it was in the trailer. Like he's on
Kind
the
of in the
moon.
trailer. Yes, we do. We do go to the moon. We go to a lot of really cool places in Endwalker. I'm actually helping my husband finish Endwalker tonight, but yeah, you get to experience different time periods too in Final Fantasy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying with like the crystal ball exploding or pensives, you get to step foot in different areas without messing things up.
And lastly, he says number 3, it needs to have gameplay features that fit lore, which makes sense.
Like we said early, I think a lot of it will also hit a wall because there's only so much information that's given to us, right? So at some point, it's creativity and imagination that'll play into it. But I think as long as we're not in the same time period as, I think the safest bet is going to be past Harry Potter,
Yeah.
because there's not much talked about way after.
Right. I would
Like
like
that's
to
pretty
actually
much.
see like a time period after Harry Potter where the Wizarding World is actually exposed. That way we can do all the magical mayhem nonsense wherever we want to. But it just gives us, the freedom to kind of go wherever we want. And we'd
Yeah.
also have to see, we would also get like, a full complete exposure of the Wizarding World as a story that no one has told or no one has seen yet. And there's no like giant bird with a magic bottle that can erase people's memories all over the city or anything like that. It's a true legit exposure and seeing the world, how these two different worlds react to that. Like, are we going to try to figure out how to get along, or is it like World War Wizarding World War 3?
Yeah. Yeah, and
WWW.
that could be like an expansion for like when we're in adulthood too.
Right. Happy graduation. We're going to war.
Yeah.
I think that kind of covers everything. Do you have any honorable mentions?
Think so. I'm pretty sure I ran through basically my entire notes and rambled for way too much.
All good, all good. Well, thank you for joining me with this.
Of course. Thank you for asking me. This was a lot of fun talking about Final Fantasy and Harry Potter. Two favorite things.
Thank you very much. And yeah, I mean, I could probably talk about either for many more hours, but I think eventually I'm gonna go. So, and to do, yeah, if I can talk, see, I'm already getting kind of tired down here. To those of you kind of listening in on this, thank y'all for listening. Please leave a like and subscribe, and be sure to check out WhatTheKristy's channel. I'm sure she's going to be very occupied for Dawn Trail, right?
Oh yeah.
Good.
I may or may not make videos of said Dawn Trail, but we shall see how invested I get, because if I get that invested, which I probably will, I'll forget to hit record.
Well, do be sure to hit record. Anyway, yes. Until then, be safe, be well, be kind.